Alright, well, thank you everybody for, is the microphone sound on? Is this on? Yes.
Yes.
So thank you everybody for being here today. This is a special meeting of the TAC. Next week we'll have the regular meeting of the TAC on the 2nd of June on Thursday. And this meeting is really gathered to work through, or at least begin to work through the marketing responses to the RFP, all of the proposals. As you know, you had discussed a few months ago how you would like to see the marketing be organized going forward. So some of those recommendations from the TAC was to issue the specific RFP, which you had reviewed and recommended, to hire a marketing coordinator, who would be a local person. And so with that, those recommendations went to City Council, and they did also approve this direction for issuance of the RFP and creating a marketing coordinator. In fact, on Monday we had a council meeting on the budget, and they confirmed that they would approve or indicated that they were favorable of marketing coordinator being a city position. So with that said, the marketing coordinator would be responsible for managing this contract, if that's the structure going forward, where they would manage this contractor, be your kind of point staff person once they're onboarded. They would also help manage the visitor center and be that sort of the main point of contact for all things marketing, as well as special events. As we hear a lot of times that businesses are impacted in different ways from special events, so we want to make sure that whatever special events are authorized in the city and permitted are benefiting our community and our both our residents and our businesses. So today we are here because we received the RFP closed. We received 10 responses in total. All of those responses were provided to you and were posted on the website. We didn't do a roll call or pledge of allegiance. Let me finish my speech and I'll jump into that. So today we are really here gathered to begin to work at whatever pace and however you want to handle it. We will have an opportunity on the 2nd next week again to hopefully finalize your recommendations so that the recommendations can go to City Council on June 13 or June 27 at the latest. So it's pretty ambitious, but we have 2 meetings, so I hope we can work through that. And with that, I'll allow City Clerk to take the roll call.
Member Handberg?
Here.
Member Beard? Here. Member Brents?
Here.
Member Grenier?
Here.
Member Jensen? Absent. Member Martino?
Here.
Chair Schellenberger?
Yeah.
And we should do the Pledge of Allegiance as well.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Behind me is Miss Wilson, and I didn't know there wasn't public comment today at the meeting, or wasn't sure, and she had asked me about the TAC, and I said we were having a meeting today, so she wanted to come speak for 3 minutes. I don't know if today's the appropriate day, but she wanted to come speak to the TAC for 3 minutes.
So today's public comment is for items on the agenda only.
Okay. Come next week.
Okay, well, I'll only take just a quick minute to ask that question because I've sent numerous correspondence to get on the agenda for next week for the city council meeting.
So I can talk to you individually after this meeting,
Okay, very good.
and we can coordinate the best way to go forward with that.
Sounds good. And about what time is this meeting over?
This meeting is over at 5:15. I do have another meeting at 5:30, but I can
I'll be
coordinate
here
with you.
between the
Okay,
times.
sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Sorry very much, I apologize.
So I have one question. Is the goal between this meeting and the one on the second to, I mean, are we gonna come down to a few different proposals and maybe ask them to come back, or what is the goal? Is it to have a recommendation by the second on one proposal?
I would recommend that, yes, you select maybe a few that you think are the most, the ones that you want to move forward, and then maybe we invite them to
Perfect.
join you on the second.
That's, I think, a great way to go. I just wanted to make sure that was your expectations as well, so.
Yeah, so to clarify, we will speak to the group we choose.
I would recommend that you definitely do that,
Yeah.
hold an interview with
Yeah, I
them.
think the goal is if we can come up with 3, maybe 4 is a good number usually, then yeah, ask them to come and whether virtual or presence can, you know, you can hear them, but,
Yeah. So if I may, from my perspective, I would really like to be able to onboard them as soon as the new fiscal year starts. So, because we technically don't have a contract in place at this point, so that's why we're on this a little bit of a tight timeline.
well, maybe even the goal is then to come up with those top ones at this meeting and see if they can even present then at the second. Yeah? Okay, perfect.
I had one other question. Where did they see a budget figure? Was that in an RFP? I looked over the RFPs and didn't see a number they were shooting for, but I saw 300,000 in some of the RFPs. Was there?
Almost all of them were 300,000.
Yeah, was there that number somewhere in an RFP that I missed?
I think it was but presented to city council, right?
It was presented in the city council, so
Yeah.
yes, if they had reviewed and to the TAC, so
But
they
it
had-
wasn't in the RFPs, right?
I
I don't just
Oh, it
remember
was,
seeing
it
that
was in
number.
the addendum, I'm being told, so when they asked questions,
Okay.
one
That's
of the
where it
questions
came from,
was.
because I was wondering how they all came up with the number, and I don't remember seeing that, so, all right, thank you.
Oh, I have a question. I noticed in all of the all the agencies that applied, we didn't have any from Southern California at all. Was there a reason for that, or wasn't there an agency at all in Southern California that would be interested in representing it?
We didn't target any particular agencies, we just sent out the RFP, reached out to a few connections of organizations that are
I just thought
statewide, so it's.
Since it's 80% of our market in Sullivan, and we know that, because 101 South is closed down, we have a ghost town. And we didn't have, when I read all these, you know, from all over the United States, not one from Pismo down, Pismo South, not one. I thought it was strange. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, no, but a lot of them had stuff south of us,
Really?
that had been doing stuff in Goleta, Santa Barbara.
Oxnard.
Oxnard, yeah, so, I mean, they had experience from below.
Okay.
Do we want to just go down the list or and make comments on each one?
I actually have some general comments, just general observations, and this is from my own perspective, but that's what I'm here to represent, is that it seemed like not enough focus on midweek, and they all kind of have a little bit of mention, but nothing specific for midweek. From my perspective, our most challenging time is midweek. We have, we actually just, on the weekends, we just need to keep the bathrooms clean and everything picked up. The weekends are fine most of the time. Midweek is, whatever we get in midweek really is accretive to us. Second thing is that I just was kind of tagging along with John a little bit, not enough focus on Southern California. Some folks were like, hey, bring in people from San Francisco. People in San Francisco are great, but really, historically, our marketing efforts towards Northern California, difficult to get results. Then the other thing is just, I would really think that credibility on out-of-state firms is understanding the California market. One of the proposals that we'll see actually says that Solvang is 45 minutes south of Santa Barbara. And it's like, well, you're really talking about Ventura. So, but I get it, but I think just in particular, I just think that, I heavily weighted things on California or mid-coast California type experiences, being the most insightful to us. That was my general observation.
You know, I don't, just to go back, one of those guys, the CPA, I did notice had the new idea workstation, which goes to your midweek stuff. They talked about
Yeah.
the work, and they brought up that, you know, the new deal is you can work anywhere, which goes to the, which I thought was an interesting group, the CPA. And then the other, on your Southern California versus Northern California, we get it a lot from LA, but I think an untapped market for us is north, and I've been sort of think we should do a little more towards the north, because Southern California is, I mean, they I mean, not to ignore them, but they come out here, that we know they're our market. I think we need to open up, try to expand our market to northern Bakersfield, Fresno, that area too, so. On that note, yeah, no, I agree with you there on that.
Kind of what we find is Orange County is a particularly fruitful market for us.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And,
I've seen the
you know,
zip codes.
Orange County in many ways is better than Los Angeles. And it's a little better demographic, but anyway, I just was saying that, hey, from our perspective, anything midweek is gonna be super helpful.
Yeah, and from my perspective, I highlighted all the out-of-state ones, you know, that kind of bothered me that they were out-of-state, but
Me too.
we gotta remember, we're not dealing with events now. We're dealing with promotion,
Right.
which, and apparently somebody in Canada thinks they can do it from up there, which I thought was pretty creative that they came from Canada, and it's not one of my highlights.
Right.
But I think, and I've talked to a few people, you know, about their digital and stuff, and for instance, the Visit SYV, they use some of these, part of one of these guys, and I had a discussion with him, and he's, because I was going, do we want warm and fuzzy, the guys from San Luis, that area, like we kind of were used to, or do we want to go new school, completely new, where some of them had some really creative ideas that were from Virginia and out of
Yeah.
state, so
I thought that one was good.
I think they can do it from out of state. They may need to learn a little where we are compared to San Francisco and various things, but I think that, I mean, they weren't given a lot of time to put this together, I guess, but those kind of points are important that they know where they're at, but I think they'll figure that out pretty quick.
Well, if I'm in Canada, I wanna come to Southern California.
Right.
Especially
That's
in
for
January.
sure, okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't mention that, you mentioned Southern California is our market, so Canada should be our market too. The world is our market, to be honest with you. And I also, you know, I'm concerned that we get to some of the shows, some of the travel shows and things which we haven't been able to do. Don't think we got out of IDK. And from what I'm hearing, IDK did a bang up job on social media for us. The numbers were through the roof,
I think that's
what I'm hearing compared to other places. So I saw some from Santa Barbara, this here, Santa Barbara's quarterly report from the Visit Santa Barbara. Tracy gave that, I read that. The numbers are comparable, and we were, compared to a lot of the big places, had very favorable numbers, so.
And they didn't put a proposal in, IDK?
No,
No.
Cox and Martin, they're done with us.
Okay.
I think we upset them too
Okay.
much. Those are some of my perspectives.
Yeah, I did go to the Visit Santa Barbara meeting, so I sent that out to everyone. To chamber members, I did send that out to people.
It's interesting stuff, you know.
Yeah, I sent that report out
right,
in the Visit California report out. I was at both meetings, so I sent those reports out to everyone of what was going on. And I
Sure.
think David's right, they said 45 minutes south, but they said carriage rides, we had Segway rentals, so I don't think they read everything, or They did some old research, and there was a lot of old photographs that were 4 or 5 years old in that report too, that
Sure.
you're talking about. That store, 2 of the stores have been closed for 4 years in that report. So,
Oh, I
yeah.
missed that. There was one guy, Eddie, had some interesting facts.
Are we gonna say names, or are we just gonna go down number 1 on our list
Well,
and
let's go
number them?
general. Just let
I
everyone
was
have
just
a general.
getting
If
some
someone
general
wants to have a
stuff off
general.
my,
Go back around.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie had some interesting facts and some diagrams in there. And there was 4 graphs and one of them had age. And 18 was the biggest market.
That kind of shocked me.
That kind of shocked me too. I went, where did that come from? I've never seen that as a big age, and how they got that particular demographic, I don't know. But anyways, that was kind of, go ahead, Cheryl.
Their budget was very unusual, though, of how they laid it out, so I did pull their budget, and their budget really was a very hourly budget of how they chose to want to spend the finances.
That was,
That was the Eddie Ellis, and,
okay.
yes, so I pulled their budget separately, so, and theirs was, everything was pretty much by the hour, how they would spend the money.
You like that or don't like
I
that?
don't like that. I was not satisfied with that.
You can get in sticky situations with those.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, some of the agencies, I've never had them personally as an agency of record, but I have worked with them in different capacities, some of them. So, you know, knowing that they work with other destinations, other destinations in Central Coast, I think is always a good sign, especially if, you know, they have good references. I think midweek was important. Some people just did mention it. I don't know if like LA will be the market that's gonna come midweek. I think they're the ones that are coming on the weekends. So I actually like when they, you know, went a little bit further, either San Diego, Orange County, and out, or even out of state, because they're gonna come and stay longer is kind of what the research shows. So I think it's important to kind of go beyond that. But those are details that you can always work, I think, with any agency. I think it's really kind of, you know, what we're looking for, the approach we want and what we want done. So some of them, you know, we're heavy in broadcast, which that kind of makes me a little worried. I think we should have a full, you know, rounded agency that touches upon everything. And then, yeah, and then just kind of how they set up their budgets can always be the hard part. But there is some good stuff.
Yeah, I saw a lot of good stuff. How do we want to start talking about it?
Yeah, any other comments? Just kind of overview?
You wanna go, or?
I have nothing really general, except I agree with your point that most of these agencies didn't mention much about midweek. So I definitely saw that as a pattern, that there wasn't enough time spent discussing how you target midweek travelers. But that's the only general comment I have.
And I think that's something that, once we tell them.
Important to us,
I
yeah.
would that have been in the RFP, noting that was that kind of, I read it, but I can't remember the whole thing.
It must have been a mention, because I feel the same verbiage was
Oh.
pulled throughout all of the proposals.
yeah, everything that was in the RFP. I think you all approved the RFP before we
Right.
went
Oh, yeah.
forward with it, yes.
Except we didn't.
Is it? Yeah, again, I saw nothing going on with midweek. I think that, to what you're saying, we can always get them to refocus on that side. I did want to go through each one of them and see how much they truly were showing and that they cared. And a couple of them, you know, they had 5 pages, and we obviously knew they were not too interested or went through them. So, and there was others that did some great detail work, and I like the fact that someone even did a QR code and broke it down. So,
Right.
and then someone did a video and gave us a video clip. So I like that fact that they're willing to not just sit there and throw us 5 pieces of paper. And so I looked at what overall they were doing. I also like seeing that there were some that were associated with Visit California, and I really like the fact that anybody that touches with them, that is something that we need to be close to, because we can always, and always have been a good partnership with Visit California. So I think that would help us in Southern California, where I think that we're short, we can be doing that. So. Anyways, that's it.
Yeah, and it's a free partnership, Visit California, and they have these great specials right now of blogging that we've sent out just about to everyone, that you can blog your own content on Visit California, which is great right now. So, yeah, that is something I liked about some of them. And most of them did not tackle the resident thing that we asked them to do of programs to support benefit tourism to residents, on number 5. Only one put something on that. Should we just start one-on-one down at the top?
I think so. For the Abbey Agency,
I mean, I had notes that looked good, they were close, they had a target audience, but the downside was they have a lot of overhead. A lot of, I guess that's good, having a lot of people, but it costs money, and the more overhead you get, the more you have to pay, which is what we get out of the product. That was the only 2 comments I really had about Abby, but I liked her stuff.
They had a good breakdown, Abby did, of their budget, of how much percent they would go on each one, because I have their budget here, so I like that about the budget, of how much would go towards. Is it because they have a lot of people on staff, you feel?
Yeah, that's what I meant by overhead, a lot of people on staff, and I guess that's a plus and a negative. Paying a lot of people, but you get more creative ideas too, so.
That's what I kind of thought, and they did touch on the residents, and I like the Discovery Pass they've done. They've done some different interesting things with other organizations, if you look at.
And I apologize, I didn't remember seeing the local interest in what do you think these people should do for locals? I mean, that's gonna be events that we put on, isn't it, more? And our new director or whatever, or the events coordinator, I mean, how do you feel that these people should integrate locals into their, what was the
Well, I just
thought
like the
pattern on
fact
that?
you could see they reached out in their market, in their plan. They did reach out when you looked at other organizations that they did, and then I went to those websites and looked.
Yeah, they
So,
talked about doing interviews, some focus groups.
Yeah.
I like their 2-year plan of one, doing a lot of
Yeah.
research the first year, and then being able to execute things.
We'll get in trouble with Tracy, because it's
So-
all broken down.
Tracy, you mean the research part? I mean, they all mentioned research. They all had a portion of research with the locals, I thought.
But I like the breakdown, though, Max, where they.
Yeah, no,
for
it's
the 2
beautiful
years,
done.
Year 1 and
Yeah.
year 2,
They were,
where they were gonna be,
right.
what their
they were number 2 on
search
my chart,
engines,
so.
our strategy and everything else, so I was impressed with her.
And I love their Red Claw activation,
Yeah.
super fun.
It's the wrong red cloud, but,
No.
all right.
No, but it was just the fact that they had done some things to.
Thought about it,
They
right?
thought about
Yeah.
it, they put it together.
Market activation.
You could go look at some of the other things they did with other organizations.
Right.
Dog friendly, millennial, inclusive to LGBTQ, everything. They're taking all these things into consideration, and they broke everything down about what, including Danish food bakery, so they know, they're trying to really show that there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I like the idea that they represent Carmel by the Sea and Morro Bay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
Right.
meant a lot to me, too.
Yeah.
That was the kicker for me.
Yeah, and Goleta, I think it was.
And they did Goleta.
Yep.
So should we just rate them and tell you what our number was on them? Because that's how I rated my organizations. I just,
say yay.
okay, yay or nay.
I gave each one a number of them.
I gave a number too.
These guys were number 1.
These were my number 1 too.
Yeah.
All right,
Good.
in favor.
This was my number 1.
ABBA was number 1 for you guys?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was my number 1 due to
No,
the fact I
sorry.
looked at.
Oh, yeah, Abbott, sorry.
ABBA.
Yeah,
Number
It
2.
was number 3 on my list.
What are they?
okay, that's
But
good.
anyway, they're in the top 3.
Right.
That's good.
Well, unless,
So on to the next.
I don't know if you heard, were you here, Jim, when we said We're gonna pick 4 and then we're gonna possibly interview them. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Thoughts? Here first?
How do you pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
Charette, right?
Charette.
Yeah.
I had out of state again, that was, you know, I had
That's okay.
highlighted that. But that, again, talk about branding again, I don't know, they talked about a lot about branding, and I wasn't sure, do we need to be branded again? And then, back in the proposal budget, I highlighted one particular line, to borrow and all that, we do so at a profit if we can, a loss if we must, but always get work. Always great work. That's kind of a nice way to go about it. Nice thinking, so.
I thought they had great experience. I would have liked to have seen more Southern California, but I had them number 3 on my list.
I had them number 2 on my list. I thought, I agree with David, I thought they had great experience. I thought the presentation overall was probably one of the most complete presentations, I thought. You know, covered a lot of bases. But my drawback on them was that they're in Virginia Beach. Now, what happens when they come out to us? Do we have to pay all that travel time and everything?
Typically, if there was a requirement for them to come out, yeah, it depends on how you structure the contract, but if that's the assumption, they will probably want to make sure it's in their budget.
Some mentioned the travel in their proposals. I don't know if they did.
I can remember one of the proposals actually said they charge travel at 50% of the
Yeah.
standard.
I remember seeing that too somewhere.
But I don't think these guys did.
Did I
Yeah.
write that down somewhere?
That's actually the general question for me is like, how much face time are you going to get, or how much time are you get if they're all the way around the other side of the country? But of the out-of-state ones, I thought these were good.
What's this new Zoom stuff, the FaceTime is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
we had, when it came to Scott, there's people that felt within the community who were trying to get a hold of them. And maybe with the TAC it'll be a little bit easier, but they were not in touch with those people.
But that was purely event-driven stuff, right?
I know, but I'm just saying that do we want to have that potential happen? If these guys are willing to do that and be here when we need them, but again, if they're on Zoom all the time, if we all feel that Zoom is okay, then that's fine too, but if they need to have them come in and walk the streets and do those kind of things and see everything, feel it, I don't know, if they're in Pismo or in Reno, it's an easy flight from into Santa Barbara. That's all.
And just to remind the committee that you will have a local representative to be that coordinator management function here between this firm and the community.
Right.
Feet on the ground here.
Right.
Which is
But of
what we
course,
all complain about.
it might be of benefit, of course, for somebody that's marketing a community to have a feel and touch of actually having visited and been here.
Yeah, one I think drawback about Charette was their staff seems to be a lot smaller than some of the companies such as the Abbey Agency. And I know you mentioned that as a possible issue. I really think having a large staff
It's a good thing.
offers a lot of benefit because you have lots of people with different skill sets who can market the city in different ways and bring different ideas in. So that's the one thing I'd bring up, that it's a smaller staff. But otherwise, they seem to have a pretty good proposal, especially when it comes to off-seasons. They talked about increasing tourism.
And I like their branding on the other destinations we've done, though maybe we don't need to do branding, but just, they do nice work.
Well, maybe my concept of branding is off. I mean, I think about Brandon or that silly little windmill we have on front of our stuff now, running in our beautiful mermaid.
And their case studies actually have performance reviews. I feel like some of the case studies do not have numbers, so performance results.
But their Virginia Beach one, I think, went back to 215, 217, so I'd like to see, is that a contract that's in play right now? Or is that an older contract that they've had on that one?
Is that dated here?
Yeah, and then they had some old photos of stores that were closed also in this one. They also did have some. Which told me they pulled from a website or from somewhere and.
Oh, yeah, 215, there it is. Back to 215.
But they did quote me in there, so I don't think I don't know how they got that quote.
Did
Or
you
that-
say it?
I did say it,
Okay.
yes, I did years ago, so they went back from something that wasn't too. But this picture on 43 store has been closed for 4 years now.
Well, overall consensus sounds like they were still kind of the top for most people, so maybe worth,
I would say, in my opinion, they're in the
Yep.
top three.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I-
agree.
I
They
had them number 2, yeah.
they were a 4 for me. They were my number 4 pick.
That was a 4 on that one.
4?
They were good, but I didn't have them in my top 5. I thought they were.
Maybe put them under theirs for now and see how they all come up.
Just trying to find a place for it.
Jiggle it around.
We're on 4 now.
Good sign.
4.
I didn't think they had on the number 2, when I read it, the understanding of what Solvang's current needs were and the target audience. I just didn't feel that was there for them.
And they subbed out
Yeah.
the
Come on, look at the
website, right?
breakdown. The breakdown was horrible.
Yeah,
They didn't even put any work into
And
it.
then you don't even know exactly what all these things mean.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Agree.
was not
So-
detailed it out, so
That
I'd
was-
even have them.
Didn't make it my top
They
five.
made
Yeah.
mine.
No,
they
you
weren't
weren't
at all,
Right,
yeah.
so,
So is it worth the
No.
conversation?
No,
I think we-
moving on.
okay.
Down.
Oh, on the floor, is that what it is?
All right, so next is Creative Digital Agency.
Let's see.
I thought they were really good.
Yeah, I didn't have them in the top 5.
I had them as number 4. I thought their client was relevant. It looked like they were used to dealing with bigger budgets. And then they had NorCal for Benicia. I thought those were relevant, relevant experience.
Where's Benicia?
Outside of San Francisco. But anyway, I like them. I thought they did good.
What does their budget look like, Tracy?
300.
Yeah, I know
Their
that.
budget was right
They're all
at
in.
300, one,
How did it work? We know the 300 number.
I think it was half services and half advertising.
yeah, and,
They're
Which
$110
is a lot.
an hour.
Yeah.
for paid advertisement, they had 130, and creative services was 144 with all of the projects for design, graphics,
But did you
everything.
like the way it was laid out?
They were my number 3 organization. They were kind of my number 3, but I'm okay with them. They were my,
They didn't make money, but it wasn't bad.
And I think just experience-wise, we should definitely bring them into our top couple for consideration because and they've worked with LA, the city of LA, Airbnb, Carnival Cruise, a couple of countries' tourism boards. So I think, I mean, I know Solvang's a lot smaller than some of the clients they've been used to. I definitely think they'll bring in a very different perspective than a lot of the other agencies, and that's something worth consideration when somebody.
Yeah, I looked at those and thought they were all too big for us, but the Sausalito's there.
They understood the economic value impact of what tourism meant, the marketing strategy, the regional awareness on our sales tax, so they did put that in their proposal. Those were some of the things I wrote down that I liked about them.
Yeah, the workstation idea, yeah, talking about the midweek stuff. That was
Yeah,
nice.
well, that was nice.
Film connection, work in state, yeah, in state and then in state too, so.
They were like 5 and 6 to me. I just wasn't impressed. I thought they were over.
Well, we
Trying to
should
be
go
over
up
the
on the
top.
table for a
Yeah.
little while longer. Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's not on the floor.
Like I said, they didn't make my
It's not on the
top.
floor.
Well, I have my floor piled out.
Destination advantage.
This one didn't make my top 5.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't
It
make
did?
my top
no.
five.
Did not?
Did not.
No.
They focused a
Didn't make
lot
mine
on.
either.
Yeah, it just was like, again, another one, it was like core. They just went right. They just,
Yeah.
they didn't do any due diligence and detail. And, you know, it doesn't matter if they don't do photography, but at least explain what you're doing with your money.
And they talked a lot about the meetings markets, which isn't a priority, I feel like.
The what?
Meetings market,
Can I throw it on the floor?
anyone feel?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Anyone, everyone okay with that?
yes.
Max?
Yeah?
Can I twist your arm?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, they didn't make my top 5,
They
so.
didn't
All
either.
right.
Okay.
All right, on the floor. Those are good ones.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah.
Eddie Alexander.
Okay. Now, it's confusing. They're in Eureka, California and Roanoke, Virginia. That's what it looks like, huh? Or they're all over.
They're based in Rome.
They're based in Roanoke.
So the back page says Eureka, California.
Weren't they the ones that got the location of Solvang wrong?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
I noticed that too.
yeah, that was the first thing I highlighted.
But I don't think it's, I mean, to say 45 minutes, I mean, a lot of people up here say 45
Yeah,
minutes
it's
in
not-
Santa Barbara, so I think they had a
You
pretty
can't
good
hold it
presentation.
against
Yeah.
I think their rate was extremely higher than everyone else's in the back.
Yes.
So
They
if
didn't
you're out
make
of,
my top 5.
yeah.
They were?
They did not.
Floor?
Everyone
More
knows
just,
that.
can I see?
Very, very high on the budget, so I would agree
Very
with David, and they were not in my top 5 at all. They were
Yeah.
very high
I
on
just
the
thought they were
budget,
expensive.
very expensive. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that we're like agreeing.
You're doing better than the GPAC last night. Holy cow.
I thought that, I just commented, that
Oh,
went well
come
last
on, I
night.
needed a drink after about
Well-
5 minutes.
We'll get drinks at the table then next time.
I
like-
offered to bring drinks, and I was told I wasn't allowed to today.
Oh,
Why, no, that was for today,
I'd rather
yeah.
have
But that's
jackhammers
for you,
than
today.
concrete when we go to GPAC meetings. Holy cow.
No, I thought it, I said it went in. So anyways, we digress.
Anna
What
Marie
was
wasn't
next?
there
I'm
either
sorry.
to help us
That's
out.
okay,
School of Thought.
So they're an agency that I've wanted to work with in past jobs, never have, but I've always admired the work they've done. I do think they tend to be on that more expensive side from what I know, but I do think they do extremely creative work.
Yeah, the book was nice and
Yeah.
that showed right there.
Mm-hmm.
They made my top 5 or 4.
They made my top 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like them too.
I,
I thought
And I love the
Northern
Solving
California
Her Bus,
experience
the
was well.
website, they had a little website to go to.
yeah, I went to that, but their billing hour was small, but when you added everything up, the media, 15, the extra 100K for more out-of-pocket stuff, it became over 375,000.
Yeah.
And they had local connection. John's wife, Wendy, in the buggy at Danish Days.
That's relevant.
Yeah, I mean, that's, they appreciate. They get a better appreciation, or, you know, financial.
Well, that means they have a finger on the pulse here. too,
Right.
Yeah.
Or they have, and they've seen it in a long time, so.
But I didn't see where they put it in the package to me. I don't know what you just said, that information, and,
It was a picture of a guy in a cart.
yeah,
pulling it.
but it doesn't tell me,
Said his wife was in the cart, so that just got my heart.
I don't think we can necessarily make decisions based on that, and I think there's a lot in this packet that was just about them and not enough about the plan for solving. So I mean, while I do think they seem like an excellent agency, and they definitely are in the top half, I think there wasn't enough about solving. There wasn't any, I didn't see as much a clear plan as I would have liked.
I think they had, I noticed that too, but then it was going to their website they created, that solving or
Yeah.
bust, I felt there was more addressed.
Yeah, there was more in there.
mhm.
And the fact that they did do that.
Yeah.
So they're not a floor.
I don't, I think
Yeah,
they
we
took
should-
it.
I think we should
So
keep
they're,
them.
they're one we're gonna keep on the file.
Let's say keep them.
I like their communication style.
Yeah.
Clean.
Okay. Trucking along.
Yeah.
Sinclair Broadcast Group, I can talk.
This was the one that was very drawn to media in Bakersfield area and us going in that direction to Kern County, Fresno, in that area I saw.
Yeah, I didn't feel like they were like a well-rounded.
Yeah, I felt segmented, I wrote segmented.
And I think going back to what we're talking about Southern California.
Actually, they didn't make my top 5, I kind of thought the same. It felt like an old school media company,
Mhm.
and it's like, wow, not particularly relevant to our future. And I felt like the overemphasis on Bakersfield, Fresno, great markets, but
Sure.
I wouldn't overemphasize them.
I just don't feel the crossover, that they would be a big crossover for us to go where we want to go.
Yep. Floor?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, I did like them, but.
Did you?
Oh, you did?
Well, let's hear about, what did you like about it, Tracy? Tell us, yeah.
I liked.
On this one, you blow, okay?
Okay, it's okay, I lost this one, I'm fine.
Oh, are
No,
you
what did
sure?
you think?
Don't take it personal.
I don't take it personal, I don't.
What
You
were
blow
your
on
highlights
this one.
of
For
it?
once,
My
you
highlights
blow.
was they did market TV, and TV is something I like, but at the same time, it wasn't as well-rounded as it could have been for more market share, that's all. So, yeah, I agree, I'm agreeing with, I put mine on the floor, threw it to the floor.
Can you put it in the shredder?
No, yes.
What was next year, the TJ?
Next
Okay.
They made cute videos, so we did
Yes,
look
I
at
did like
that.
that. Okay, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was very nice.
TJ, right?
Yeah, did y'all look at all their videos? They were very.
Yes, they were all done, based on
Were they
Pismo
nice?
and
I like the
Please.
fact they did, some nice little different, programs for us
Yeah,
in
it's great
different
they
ways.
included all this.
Again,
And they're
against
fresh.
Alexander, I had
And
low
they are
overhead.
fresh. So they did a little research
Small
because,
town feel, I had.
yeah. So I was very nice with that, and
how'd you like their budget?
I liked their budget. I actually did like their budget.
I think this was number 1 on my list.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked them because I thought their focus was on Central California. They had a lot of experience there. I just thought that in general, they seem to have all the goods.
And they're gonna educate our residents on tourism. I love that.
I think that, the challenge for residents is they kind of feel run over by the tourism box. And it speaks to the need for level loading it a bit so that it's not all just, on the weekend.
Yeah.
easy to say,
Yes.
hard to do,
Hard to, hard to execute.
but
Yeah, all right, well, there,
They
They
were-
were
They're in my top two.
They're in my top, they're in my
Number
top,
two.
yeah, they're my
They
top
were in my
three.
top
They're my
also.
top
Okay.
three.
I like the idea, they did that, have you ever been to the Chardonnay symposium that they put on? This-
what's Chardonnay?
The Chardonnay.
Oh.
It's not gin.
It's not gin or beer, is
It's
it?
not
Sorry.
gin.
Yeah, beer.
Yeah, they do
Anyway,
this here.
They do, they, to me, they have a great deal of experience that we can relate to Solvang. I really like them, and I like the idea that they're only an hour away.
Yeah, they're local, small town feel.
Again,
I had
That was-
written.
Better crossover than the Bakersfield team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's, you know, that was not in their favor, the Bakersfield team. This is in their favor. They have a lot more product. They showed us what they've done. So yes. And the videos were fabulous. They were
Yeah, I did.
very nice videos.
And they were the opening marketing team for Dolphin Bay Resort.
We were
which
able
is
to
big.
look at them,
Are
yes.
videos important?
I think yes, they are, because videos
Where
get,
do we put those?
you put them on your website, you
Okay.
share them.
YouTube,
Anytime we share
Social
on
media.
YouTube, 500,000.
email.
Well, social media, I don't think of them as a video, but okay, I guess that's a big,
Mhm.
all right.
And you know what, can we expand them to the hotels through
Yep.
the city?
Yeah.
So they
They've
could
been
put them
around
on the
for a long
play
time.
through, and just play it through.
Yep.
And those would be great. I was just thinking that'd be a potential.
Yeah, and I think video content, going back to that, for social media is some of the most popular content at this point, whether it's Instagram Reels,
Right.
TikTok. So producing that content and then getting it to the right places is important. So.
Because he's correct, whenever you put a video up, you get a minimum of 500,000 to 300,000 people, no matter what, that share it, like it. And then when it goes on that viral, you can even get more. That's how the Able Skeever has gotten so much. And the lady who ate a couple years ago, she ate the Able Skeevers, the contest, and we videoed the whole thing. That got 1.5 million people liked
Did
it.
it?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that just watching her.
So we need to bring her back.
I mean, yeah, that was crazy. But it was.
That's why we need so much money.
But they were my number two, so they were they were your number one, David, and they were my number two, so we think pretty, thank you, yeah. I feel like I'm in good company then. I feel good when I think like you do.
oh, everybody wants to be an accountant.
No, I don't wanna be an accountant, you know that.
Yes, you do. That's all you are is a budget lady.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so where are we?
Burden.
Where are we?
Burden.
I'll say them, people it's, oh.
So I
Oh, I
worked
was
with
on
them
the
quite a
scene.
bit.
Love this,
Had them
love
on
it. Did you
three.
guys open this up?
Yep,
Yes.
I have it here on my phone. I mean, it was
It
well
was
done.
cool, that was
The fact that they
cool.
did that, again, was going outside
And
the
it was
box.
like 8 or 10 pages of it, it was good.
Yeah, they're definitely my top few.
But they work with Shelby.
That was my other negative.
That was a negative for me as well.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a
All right,
negative.
I don't,
I'm just concerned if there's a conflict of interest.
That's where I'm-
There's a-
that's,
So that's my deal. I
But
just-
he's very happy with them, very. I talked
I know,
in a
but it's
meeting
just
with,
like,
with Shelby this morning.
I don't want
about
them
this whole
smelling our
thing.
cheese, okay? So-
But you could also just ask for a different account management
Yeah.
group, you know? It doesn't need to be the same account person, you know?
Okay.
So
But I
that could be
think
a
our-
request.
I think you're right on that, but I think our money could be spent more widely if he's using this
Them
group
for
and we
their-
pick
yeah.
another group.
It could be.
That was the only thing. It wasn't, this group was so nice. That was my only
They were good. I
negativity.
like them.
But I did not like the fact of, I don't want to share that space with another DMO in the community.
That could work to our advantage as well.
We
It
know what's
hasn't so
going on.
far.
We haven't worked with you.
I was thinking what their contract amount is.
No.
No.
Did he tell me?
I'll just be here. I don't know.
Couple glasses of wine, you could find out.
Yeah, we had a meeting at 8 o'clock this morning, so I wasn't awake.
Sorry, this is a private, this is a public, we can't even talk.
Well, I will say firsthand experience, Verdon is someone that they will feel like a team member and not just an agency. They will be there, they will show up at city council, they show up for their clients in different ways that I mean it.
Have you heard or remember?
Yeah, so Ventura County Coast was they're higher than Visit Ventura, but we did a lot of co-op campaigns, so I was interacting with their staff all the time. They participate on the board with the Central Coast. So like an agency doesn't need to sit on there, they have board members, for the Central Coast. So they really I feel like they're very tactful about who they bring on as a client. Like, they don't just want the wrong client, they're very purposeful of clients that they take on.
So you're saying in Ventura, there was 2 Ventura organizations that used
It'd
them?
be the same thing as like, San Ynez Valley and Solvang, so I was
Right.
Ventura, and then there's Ventura County Coast, which is a
So,
bigger area.
that working together, you were happy with that combination?
We were, yeah, so like,
So
but
I
we didn't work with them directly, but yes, they offered us co-ops, so it'd be like if they were to offer Solvang a co-op through San
Okay.
Ynez Valley,
Okay.
yeah.
But on the budget, I thought it was vague, because here's the budget in these 2 pages, and it was vague.
Taking them down,
I'm just,
It's got
It's-
type pros and cons, right?
our job is to
Yeah.
oversee money.
Well, I think it still stays on the table
Yeah,
myself.
they have a great approach, I think, when it comes to social media, the video content, they have to remain, I think.
Yeah, but I wrote something about having a subcontractor for media. Was that, did I?
So, yeah, it's Mosaic Media, yeah, so they subcontract out, basically, they're the ones that are, they manage the, like, the cost per click campaigns and stuff like that, so yeah,
So what is that, cost per click, how does that work?
so they're
I mean,
basically.
so they're not putting social media out, they're doing.
They're not managing the Google Advise, they're
Okay.
managing it. Because they are a smaller team, like, so managing your optimizations of an ad on certain digital networks, they're the ones that are gonna be managing that and not them.
How do you
So.
like that? Is
Um,
it like having a pacemaker on a heart, you know, because it kind of like skips a beat?
I think, I will say firsthand, had to watch this a little bit closer to make sure that they were hitting the right audience and not just clickbait sites,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Because I'm just thinking of direct hit, if someone wants to make a direct hit, maybe, oh, well, we have to talk to our people, we have to talk to their
Right,
people.
yeah.
kind of thing.
I think it was more about, are they just pushing the ads out to get engagement? Or are they hitting the right people, which might maybe cost a little bit more in click or have a little bit lower of a click-through rate, but you're hitting people that have intent to travel or intent to travel to California. Where I feel like sometimes it was like, are they just pushing these ads out to get the clicks and not targeting the right people?
Yeah.
So, but it's questions we can ask, you know? how
Well, I don't
engaged
think
they
they're
are in
one to
management.
drop on the floor.
Yeah.
They're not that way at all.
Yeah,
Okay. Then Canada.
sounds like we're all over, you know, having an international.
So,
You
David,
can-
David, what'd
He
you
liked
think?
Canada, he didn't have a problem with
David, did
Canada.
you want to sing the Oh Canada song? Would you?
Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
So they're drowned.
Decided can't,
Yeah, I think so. Can we just drop that?
Turn on travel.
Yeah.
It's a good presentation, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
It
nice.
was, very nice.
The time zone.
So how many does that leave us with?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think.
We got rid of half.
It was 11 actually, if you count them, right?
I thought there was a.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were
Somebody
11.
said 10, I
Yeah.
kept going, 11, so we did better.
How do you feel? Do you feel like we need to weed out a couple of them, or?
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, just think about it, if we want to go to dark detail,
yep.
if you dark detail 6 or 7 or 6, that's a long day. Oh, that's my opinion.
And do we have any that are definite ones we should keep? And I feel like the Abbey Agency is one of those. Maybe TJA, just being local, but I don't know.
I like the Abbey, but
Mhm.
I'd like to see that we get pretty close to uniformity on the ones we do pick.
Yeah, yeah.
I would actually agree with those 2. I liked those 2, my first 1-2s. Those were my 1-2s.
Yeah, you hit me with that, that's good, Trace, I'm there too.
Yeah, I think put our 1-2s, 3s, 4s up maybe.
So what's your one, what are the Abbey, and then we got Charlotte,
I did
Charlotte, Virginia
TJ.
Beach, and these 3? Yeah. So what's, Cheryl, read off the three.
Do we have three?
Do we have three?
We have five.
We have five.
Okay.
Five,
1,
sorry.
2, 3, 4, I
Okay.
have 6, so right now either I have an extra one.
Yeah, I think I'm safe.
CD,
So we need to,
2, 4, 6, yeah, well, there is 6.
I have 6.
what's this one? Sure.
Can we say at least they're in the 1 or 2?
Alright.
Can we come up with a 1 and a 2 at least?
Sinclair,
Yeah.
Abby.
Oh, we do have 6.
Oh, we picked 6?
Yes, we did, to start with, we have 6.
I know.
Now we gotta weed it down.
Yeah, make half one.
But it's good to kind of look.
Sorry, Cheryl, was that you?
No, everyone has suggestions on how we want to narrow this down and open.
FYI.
No step up.
Can we just say 1 and 2s? 1s or 2s and 3s?
Should
Is
we
it
pick,
fixed?
everyone picks their top 3?
Yeah, everyone put their top 3 in, how about that?
How did I have that? 1. But after listening to some of the comments, my numbers changed.
Oh, yeah.
God, maybe 4?
Okay, 4. I like 4.
Do you like 4?
Yeah, I like 4. Let's do 4.
So you wanna go to 4 of them?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4?
Let's do what?
And that is my number 4.
Have that on there.
Does everyone have 4?
Yep.
Which one did you want, what did you say?
Yeah.
Bird.
Let's see. Okay, so let's, everyone have their 4?
No,
No, not yet?
Really, Matt?
Yeah, I had a tough time. There was a lot of good ones. And then there was some people that brought up good points that, well, these weren't, they were a checklist, so I didn't make my top 5. 1, 2, 3, 5.
You know, there's a meeting after this meeting.
Yeah, hey, you guys start, go ahead, I'm not the only one.
I was gonna do
No,
voting.
I think we just
Oh,
need to make
okay.
sure we have
Like-
everyone feeling comfortable with this.
Now you're all looking at me.
You just want to start at one end and work around?
Sure.
John?
Okay, I've got TJA, I guess you wanna call it, TJA Advertising out of Pismo for number 1.
Okay,
And then I have Abby out of Reno, Nevada for number 2. And then I have Charlita out of Virginia Beach,
okay.
Virginia, number 3. And I have Burden, number 4.
Okay,
I have TJA number 1, Abby number 2, Charette number 3, and School of Thought number 4.
okay.
I got Abby, number 1. Charlotte, 2. Burden, 3. I guess the TJ, I guess you guys like TJ, so I'll go TJ as 4.
Okay.
Moved it down.
I did, in no particular order, Verdon, School of Thought, Abby, and Charette.
Okay, I had Abby, TJ, Burden, School of Thought.
I had Abby, TJA, Verdon, and CDA, or Creative Design.
Yep. Okay.
Abby, number 1, TJ, number 2, Creative, Digital Agency, number 3, and Carton Agency, number 4.
You mean charrette or?
I'm sorry, charrette agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that leaves Abby with 7 votes, TJA with 6 votes, Verdon and Charlotte with 5 votes. So would that be our 4 agencies? Yeah?
Wow.
But I
Power?
think it's important to know what's our number ones and number twos for each of us too. I think that's kind of important.
4.
Well, we gave it, we all.
I didn't mark those down. Do
Yeah.
we need to remark those down?
What?
I just did that everyone's vote
I
as mine.
know, I know.
So then we start,
But I think most-
let it be a free shake. So now
Okay,
they know that they're one of the top 4. Let it,
okay,
because you say, oh, you're number 1, you're number 2, number 3.
okay.
Let them have a free shake, and
Got it.
now it's best man wins, or woman,
His presentation.
best person wins.
Yeah.
Best presentation wins.
So all we're doing is making recommendations to the
Right,
city
that's
council,
right.
right?
So what do we have now on our top 3? Can I ask that for votes? Can I just say for votes, what do we have?
It was Abby with 7, TJA with 6, and a tie with 5 with Verdon and Charlotte's agency.
So then that's for presentation then, because 2 of them got the same amount of votes.
Yeah.
Good.
But then we can bring in school of thought, if there was a tie.
Nice try.
I like them
I
too.
like that, try.
And their
I
presentation
know, it
was
was really
nice.
good.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Good news is we have great
So-
choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we have 4 agencies we'd like to bring back or have them present. If we're
Yes.
able at the June 2nd meeting.
Yes, so great work, it's only 4:29 and you got 4 agencies, that's impressive. Yes,
Can you
so,
let the other, general plan committee know about how long our meeting
hey,
is?
hey, hey, hey.
But I think we read through thoroughly. Everybody read, we read budgets, we read everything, we looked.
I feel good
Last
about
night,
it.
that's, you know. Go
I mean,
ahead.
so with this feedback, we'll reach out to these 4 and invite them for an interview on June 2nd, whether it be in person or on Zoom, however they decide to do so, right? It will be really primarily the only item on your next agenda. The only other item that will be coming up is the approval of a special event for Veterans Day, so October. Oh, another one will be the Visitor Center RFP, which will be coming up as well. But we'll allow enough time on the 2nd for the interviews, if you have any, yes.
May we get a breakdown of the RFPs on the visitor center too, like we did?
Yes,
We
so
will
on
have that
on the
before,
Visitor Center. if you
before our
receive-
meeting, for that.
Yes, you
Okay.
will have everything before the meeting. For Visitor Center, we got only 2 RFPs. So
good.
those will be provided to you ahead of time, so probably tomorrow,
Oh,
along with the packet.
okay.
No whispering.
Jeez.
This is a
Yes,
public
so we-
This is a public meeting, there's no whispering.
Is there any recommendation from you on how long you would anticipate allowing for each interview to last and the format of that?
for what?
So
For
for,
them.
for the interviews on the 2nd, it would be good to hear from you as the committee, your recommendations, if you have any thoughts on how you want to structure it, how long you think you'd like to take with each candidate, just so that when we reach out, we give them some expectations, if you want them to prepare a presentation and then perhaps have some questions and answers.
I think we should give each of them 20 minutes and 10 minutes of Q&A. And I really think, because we're spending a lot of money in asking them, and I don't think 20 minutes, that's not really a lot of time to present, to be honest. But we don't want a 5-hour meeting either. But I think that gives them enough, we can ask questions, and I think all of us typically have the same questions, so we don't need to beat the questions down too much.
Is that, everybody feels kind of in agreement with that?
Yeah, you don't want it too short, I agree, Trace.
I mean,
You want it to
20
be-
or 25 minutes and then 10 minutes?
Somewhere in there, I'm fine with that, and as long as we're not redundant on our questions.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I kind of feel like it's just more presentation. I feel like if you, it'd be really easy to meander for a long time on Q&A. So so it's like, I think the thing is, so we can stay sharp and focused, I just say, hey, don't regurgitate your proposal, we'd rather just tell us why you're
Yeah.
the right fit.
Yeah.
And maybe have whoever the account manager would be, or, you know, who would be the lead in interacting with the TAC
Yes.
and the coordinator
That's a
to
good
be there.
That's a
because
smart
Yeah.
idea. That's probably one of the smartest, whoever's gonna be working with us, yes.
And they tell the story, why
Yeah.
they should be it.
That's
In
probably a
Danish
better.
outfit.
Oh my God.
In Danish outfit, okay. I will leave that
Leave
as
it
an
up.
optional item for their presentation. Okay, so about 20 minutes presentation, have the account manager that will be primary, working with the city, and just present their story, don't regurgitate the proposal, really learn about who they are and how they would be working with us.
Correct.
So we'll do that and reconvene on June 2nd. Your recommendations will be hopefully final at that point. You will select after the interview, so we'll allow some time for you to discuss and deliberate after you conduct the interviews. And then those recommendations and your selection would be proposed to City Council for the actual contract execution.
Actually, I have one more comment. Maybe can they bring like a sample monthly report and see what those would look like?
Yeah. Mhm.
A digital number report or what?
Yeah, like,
Invoice
yeah,
or
no, yeah, like a report of.
More of
Of a report.
a report, not a financial.
Yeah, there was one in here that had a
Yeah.
report, right?
Yeah,
in a
there was.
second. It showed exactly what the
Yeah, it's a
report
very
would
good
look like,
idea.
yeah.
Anything else on that? What else might we want to see from them?
I think it's just good to have conversation, but if David asks, I don't need to ask the same question then, but I might have it in mind. But I think it's good for us to hear who they are and what they're expecting to do here, what they'd like to see, their vision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think
What's
that's-
our ROI?
Right.
How's that stack up? We kinda like
Yeah.
to know what they think about cost per impression. We're paying, really in digital media, we're gonna be paying for impressions. What's our best strategy for, given a small budget, or small town, what's the best strategy for maximizing that?
We had some pretty low rates. Where did I see? We had a chart about that just the other day comparing us. And we had really good numbers on that. I'm still, Cox and Marvel did a marvelous job for us out there.
So we're done with agenda item 1.
That was agenda item 1, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Then I have a committee comment. I went to the Visit Santa Barbara, and I also was at the Visit California, 2 presentations, and I sent both of them out to most of chamber membership and business community that has an interest, and I believe I sent it out to everyone on here too, just so they could know. Renee, who owns the Copenhagen House, sent me back a nice email and said, is there a possibility that we can have that kind of report done? Or can we get a finished up report, or that we should be giving a report to the community out of Solvang? And I take it now that from the time he sent that, we have terminated that contract with our Cogs and Marbles. So do we have any kind of report to finalize, or are we just done?
You mean like your report
Yeah,
that I had printed out?
yeah, do we have something like that? And I know I sent it to, do we have something like that,
I
Visit,
don't believe I received it.
Visit
actually.
California?
Yeah, if you
Okay,
would send it.
I'll send it back to you, that, I know we sent so many emails, it's like,
Yeah, we got a pretty good report, I mean, from the last time. That was a month or 2 old, right?
right, and actually Visit California is doing everything free with us, and we've really tried to put it out to business community, and we've put it out. They've given us an actual code number, and I think that's important on the tourism side to say this right now, that we have the ability to put up our own photos, social media, events, anything that's going on in the tasting rooms, music. And so we've been trying to do that on our end of it, but that's like,
Is that something they should do?
No, it's not something they should do, it's something they want the businesses to do themselves, because that's not something that, it's too time consuming. It is very time consuming to do it, to dig in, and somebody has to take a little responsibility for their own, if they want something up. I
Right.
mean, we do have to take a little responsibility, all of us. But we try to do it for the city, and we do try to do it for the community. So I just think it's something to put out there that Visit California has sunk a lot of money into helping the tourism community out on its own. And you're on a state website, which is great. And we're running pretty good on it with what we're doing now. And if you continue, as you call the taglines. and
What we're
push-
doing, chamber or solving, when you say what we're doing? you
I
mean-
think what the chamber's doing, we're
Okay.
putting Solvang higher on the map. We are, yes.
I didn't know if you meant.
Yeah.
Okay. Any additional committee comments?
Well, I'm glad you got it, they got the director, or whatever we're gonna call it for us, and that's gonna be important, because we have a lot of things coming up that we need to get sorted out. New Fest, and a couple of
Now, would
things.
that person be a city employee?
So based on the general direction from council from Monday night, that's how it's being proposed and it was accepted favorably. So I expect that it will be a city employee.
And they would be, their office would be here.
Their office will be here, between these two buildings.
Yeah.
So John, what are you doing for the next 4 years?
And we need Cheryl.
Hey, so what's gonna happen with Joyce Noble's
You got
house? Is the city gonna buy it?
congratulations. Good job.
Oh, thanks.
I know that it's for sale, is my understanding, at some point in the future.
Yeah, it's going.
What's for sale?
Joyce Noble's house.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's coming on the
Should have
market.
all four corners here, huh? Fire department, you get all four corners.
Any additional comments? Okay. So once again, just to reiterate the roadmap forward on the second, post the interviews, hopefully you have a recommendation that will be taken to the city council either on June 13th or June 27th. Right now, we don't have a contract except for some social media support from Cogs and Marvel through about mid-June. So I'm interested in definitely onboarding whoever you're selected and the council's approved marketing agency will be. When the budget is approved on June 27th, the marketing coordinator position will be going out and will be open. If that's how it's approved in the final form, so hopefully we'll have that person on board in the near future as well.
Will we have input on helping choose that? We didn't,
We can think about that.
Yeah,
It is
I
a
would-
city employment, but we'll definitely be sensitive to the committee's
well, so is this, so, but
expectations.
we need, I mean, I'd sure like to have a little input on, see who's going forward on that.
We can think about that going forward. Once again, the visitor center RFP has been received. There's only 2 proposals. We'll get those out to you tomorrow. And I believe that's all of the outstanding items we have. But the goal is to pretty much bring everybody in July and August at the latest as far as the marketing coordinator is involved.
One other question,
my
so
gosh.
will these people be, the ones we choose, will they be in charge of PR?
It was part of your RFP, yes.
For the city or just for,
It was part of the RFP, so, and the city does work with Anna Ferguson as well independently. So we do have a relationship with her, as far as PR for the city. We can definitely, think about how we might want to, continue to utilize Anna's local expertise, in addition to these teams and how that could be beneficial. So that is something that we could maybe discuss at the next meeting as well.
So would that be a budget issue with the council?
It would all depend on the recommendations and how you, negotiate the contract with these firms as well,
Okay.
and what kind of support you want them to provide from PR. So as you look at their budgets going forward, maybe take a look at how much they allocated to it and how we could potentially incorporate some additional support from a local person like Anna who really knows this market.
Well, not to dwell on this too much, but me personally would like to see how they all work together. What's
Yes.
a simpatico, I can't even say the word, but that it works so that we all embrace whatever they're doing and how it lends, shall we, for the city.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think obviously the marketing and events manager will be very important position because they will really be tasked with sort of managing this team of your marketing contractor, your visitor center, and whoever else is involved.
I got one more thing. The Tournament of Roses princesses are coming back the 14th, 15th, and 16th of October, and they reached out to me, and then I sent it out to the mayor to ask, because they asked Tim and Aaron Peterson, so we're going to kind of host them like we did. They want kind of the same format they had last year and that. So I'm putting something together for them right now of events and sending it out to them and kind of working with them directly.
Okay.
Okay, so our little young ladies are coming back. And Alex did host them last year too. I do want to say that. Alex did host the young ladies last year.
And I'm sure you'll do it again.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. He's a year older and they're a year younger. That's all I gotta say.
All right,
All right,
meeting
that's
good to adjourn at
It's up to you.
4:46. Meeting adjourned to adjourn special and regular meeting on June 2nd, 2022 at 3:30 p.m.
Excellent.
See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.